Only a few hours left before Sean Mars dies. Hope I'm not wasting my time. John Shepard died 30 years ago. Hope his mother has all the answers to this puzzle. Hello, I'm looking for Anne Shepard's room.
Please sign the visitor's book. Are you a member of the family?
Yeah, you could say that.
Oh, she'll be pleased to have a visitor. No one ever comes to see her. With the Alzheimer's, she has trouble remembering things, but it'll still please her. You know. It's room 19 at the end of the corridor.
Thank you. Room 19. Where is that? Hello, Mrs. Shepard.
Is it time for my pills already?
No, Mrs. Shepard,
They're never on time with my pills. I don't know what they do here. In the other hospital, they were always on time. But here...
I came to talk about your son, Mrs. Shepard.
My son? I have no son.
Try to remember, Mrs. Shepard. John's twin brother was placed with a foster family after the accident. What was the name of the foster family?
I asked them for a television, you know. They said I didn't have enough money. It's a pity. I'm fond of television.
You had a son named John, and John had a twin brother.
Do you have my pills? It's time for my pills.
Do you remember John?
My Johnny. He is a good little boy, you know.
Your other son, Mrs. Shepard, John's twin brother. What was his name?
What other son? Oh, I have no other son. I never had any children.
Mrs. Shepard, your son may be linked to a series of murders. Perhaps you have some information that could help the investigation.
Are you a new nurse? Where are my pills?
I know what happened at Carnaby Square. Do you remember?
Carnaby Square. I think I used to live there a long time ago. We didn't have much money at the time, you know. We had to make do with very little.
I think your son is in trouble, Mrs. Shepard. He's done some terrible things. I need to find him. Do you understand?
Terrible things you're telling me. He never came to see me, can you believe it? In 10 years, never. No one forgets their mother, do they? Oh, you know how to do these little dogs, too. My children loved origami. I taught them how to do it. John loved the little dogs. He always wanted to call them Max. Max, Max, Max. All dogs with the same name. I was wasting my time telling him they couldn't all have the same name. But he always wanted his paper dogs Max. It's funny, isn't it?
All right, no point in wasting my time. I won't learn anything more by staying here. It seems to be working. She's remembering stuff. Gotta find something else to show her. All right, no point in wasting my time. I won't learn anything more by staying here. It'd take days, if not longer, to find the name of the family that adopted her son. Sean Mars would be dead by then. This woman might be the origami killer's mother. Must be some way to get her to remember. Are these your children, Mrs. Shepherd? John and his brother? Is that them?
They're good little boys. Their father never looked after them, always drinking. They didn't have an easy life, you know.
All right, no point in wasting my time. I won't learn anything more by staying here. Her memory is coming back. Don't stop now. Just remember. Does Mrs. Shepherd ever talk about her past?
It's not all very clear to her now. Sometimes she'll remember the oddest things, though. I suppose if she sees something that reminds her of her past.
Does she get many visitors?
She's been here for 10 years and you're the first.
I'm looking for her other son. He was adopted. I mean, he's probably changed his name. Is there any official documentation on Mrs. Shepherd?
No, there's nothing really. Nothing about her family. I guess if her son was adopted, then she's the only one who could tell you about that. Sometimes, if you show her things, it seems to trigger a memory from her past. You might get it to remember.
Thanks for the advice.
What a lovely orchid. My sons loved orchids. We used to grow them in the back. When John died, I laid orchids on his grave. I cried when they told me. I'd already lost one of my children, and now they were taking away another one, you understand.
The foster family, Mrs. Shepherd. What was the name of the foster family that adopted John's brother?
They were really very nice people. I met them, you know. In the beginning, I used to go and see my little boy. And then I got sick and I couldn't go any longer. Perhaps he thought I'd forgotten him. He must have thought I didn't love him anymore.
His name, Mrs. Shepherd. What was his name?
But I loved him. If you only knew how much I missed him.
Please, Anne. His name. What was his name?
Come closer.
The last origami figure. The last trial.
The last trial. The last question. Are you prepared to give your life to save your sons? There is a deadly poison in this vial. It will kill you in exactly 60 minutes. If you drink it, you will get the last letters of the address. You will have enough time to save your son and say goodbye to him, but then you will die. You can drink the vial or decide to leave. The choice is yours.
Kill myself to save Sean? That's ridiculous! I'll find some other way. I'm sure I can save him. There's got to be another way. I can't kill myself to save my son. One hour to live. Just enough time to save Sean. He could be lying. Maybe I'll die as soon as I drink this, and then no one can save Sean. The cameras. He must be watching me. Poison. So, if I drink this, I'll be dead in an hour, and if I don't, I won't get the last letters. There's no choice. I've got to do it. If I want to save my son. Am I willing to die to save my son?
The last letters have been sent to your phone.
I did what I had to, Sean. Your dad's coming to save you. I'm nowhere, and I'm out of time. Damn fucking shitty letters from this fucking address! Come on! There's gotta be a way to do this! Several different addresses fit these letters. God, they're scattered all over the city. I don't have time to check them all. I may only have time for one address. If Sean's not there, I'm done. It's a crapshoot.
We've only got a few more hours left to save Sean Mars. There has to be a goddamn clue somewhere. It's probably staring me in the face. This kid's gonna die, and I'm going around in circles!
All packed up and ready to go?
What are you talking about?
The investigation's over. We know who did it. We no longer need your services anymore, Norman. So you can ride your files all the way back to Washington. I'd be lying if I said I was gonna miss you.
The investigation isn't over. You have absolutely nothing on Mars.
Mars is guilty. Case closed. Anyway, it's no concern of yours now. You're off the case. So pack up and fuck off.
Blake, you are an unbalanced, psychopathic asshole!
I'll take that as a compliment. Honestly, I don't give a shit what you think. I found the origami killer. Everyone's happy. End of story. Have a nice trip back, Norman.
The killer's name is here. Somewhere in this data. I just have to find it. Find it before it's too late.
Oh, one last thing, sir. You should be careful not to overindulge in you-know-what. It can be dangerous. Very dangerous. It'll end up killing you if you're not careful. That would be most unfortunate, sir.
Two receipts from the same gas station. Might be near the killer's home. Ugh, that doesn't get us anywhere. The killer lives in this zone. 342 people live around there. Not good enough. Gotta find a means of identifying the killer more precisely. Ari was in record mode when I was fighting with the killer. Perhaps there's something on it. The sword was already in Paco's office. It's got nothing to do with the killer. Gold watch. I'm sure I've seen this before somewhere. The watch they give for promotions to lieutenant. The killer is a cop. Looks like the killer is a cop. Carter Blake! That would explain the dead-end investigation and his desire to frame Ethan Mars. Cop. There's only one cop in that geoprofiling zone. Gotcha. He owns a warehouse on the docks. If I'm wrong, Sean Mars is dead.
Are you sure it's the right car? At the docks. Call the SWAT team. Oh, and I'll need a chopper. Today? Of course I'll need it today, you fucking imbecile.